As we told you off the top of the show tonight, a little bit of a change up in the Titans' practice plan for this week. They were scheduled to have joint practices tomorrow morning and then also Thursday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park with the Arizona Cardinals ahead of Saturday night's preseason game at Nissan Stadium. Mike Vrabel, Cliff Kingsbury got together and decided based off of where their teams are at, based off of the health of their teams, they don't want to do that. So no more joint practice Thursday. The teams are going to work out on their own. Just one joint practice tomorrow before they do that. And they're limiting the 11-on-11 work during the opposition time. A lot of one-on-one stuff, a lot of competition things, but they're really going to try to keep the hitting to a minimum between the two teams tomorrow when they get on the field over there at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Mike Vrabel talking about his offensive line. We've spent a lot of time in this show on that, talking about his decision with that training camp stuff and much more after the Titans' latest practice.
Final practice, at least in front of the media, before Arizona comes to town. Did you get everything out of it?
Yeah, we went back in the red zone, which was, I thought, good. That's critical. Talked about how much of the game is spent in red zone and 2 minute. So we got both of those in there today. Worked in some heat. I thought, continuing to work on our conditioning, which is critical.
I asked Nicholas T-Ferrer about just the versatility, playing left side and right side, and he said you can't have any complications. It's the NFL. How impressed have you been with him, just with how he's able to work at both of those positions?
Well, I think that's something that we're always looking for, is that you have some versatility and flexibility to play more than one position. Nick's shown that, and then there's been some other guys that, young guys that have been able to do that. Rodgers, doing that as well. Chig's, learning multiple positions of the tight end, responsibilities.
On those same lines, Dylan kind of in a situation where you're able to use his versatility, get him some work at guard and all?
Yep, just trying to shuffle guys around. Just trying to shuffle guys around and see, we've had some guys out, and just trying to figure out where guys are going to be best served for themselves and for us.
What specifically are you looking at this week as well as in the game for the right tackle spot?
Well, always just seeing how they protect. And, we have to be able to protect our quarterback and the guy with the ball, whether that's the running back, but especially the quarterback. When you talk about linemen in general, it's how they function through, movement and post-snap and where their awareness is to be able to work to certain guys. Things are changing. The center's making calls, and that happens pretty quickly. How they process that, their level of finish, and how instinctive they can be when things start moving.
Anything could happen this week that could change your mind from which way you're leaning either way right now?
Just, guys playing well. Guys playing well and, continuing to improve, I think, is something that I'll always look for, that we're continuing to show improvement.
You said may do some things a little bit different against, this week against Arizona. What might those practices look like? Or will you go both days like you did last time?
Yeah, we'll only practice against them on Wednesday. So, just from a health standpoint, Cliff and I decided that was best for our football teams at this point in time. A lot of good one-on-one work. Receivers and DBs and, getting some pass rush in, getting some 7-on-7. And then we'll split up. We'll do some work against ourselves, Tennessee on Tennessee, and then we'll come back together for 2 minutes.
What's that do to your Thursday? You have your own practice out here?
Yeah, I just reworked the schedule or the script, and how probably just do some call it so that, the guys don't have to go back and script or, just call it team situations and try to identify things that I think we need specifically for Thursday.
What's you're I guess a week away from final roster cuts. How much do you tell guys don't worry about it? Do you notice guys' nerves a little bit more?
I don't think so. We just played a game. We came in, made corrections, and looked like everybody that was available was out there trying to work and compete. Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to start counting. I just want to see him do things that are going to, force them to be on this football team. So, now's not the time to start counting. There's a lot of practices and evaluations left.
How much has Racy improved as a route runner beyond just a deep post or a go route?
I mean, I think he's improved in a lot of facets. I think he's more comfortable just in the verbiage and the terminology and where he's lining up. I mean, there's a lot to it. And so I think he's gotten a lot more comfortable in just, understanding where he fits and just overall on the receiver or special teams. And so we just have to keep improving and, just try to go up and get the ball. The other night I just, the thing we told him was that you just got to try to go up and attack it. Looked like he kind of, those are hard to catch underhand when your guys are on body. So just go up and try to attack the ball like we've seen him do.
A guy like Weaver, who's doing some things that takes the practice field, the game field, and gets rewarded. How important is that in the teaching process?
Well, the only way that, it's like we talk about how you develop players or coaches or people. And I think you have to be able to identify what they do well. And then you have to identify the area of focus and try to be creative in how you come up with ways to get them to improve, whether it be drills or film. And then obviously as they start to improve, there has to be some small victories along the way, whether that's they move up in the depth chart, they get reps earlier in the game, play time, recognition in front of, the team, I think is always something that these guys that we all appreciate. And so having some small victories along the way certainly reinforces the improvement.
Chig, take the touchdown in the game and build on it out here on the practice field?
Yeah, I thought there was some good things. Look at the film. But he's, trying to figure out, how to play fast. He's got to be able to, work through some traffic. I think Malik and, on the touchdown that you referenced, Chig probably had the easiest job, and he kind of took a right turn and took the long way to get over there. But the protection was fantastic, and Malik was good in the pocket and worked through the progression. So Chig had no choice but to catch it.
How valuable has Dontrell been since he's been here, and with the full off season and now at training camp, has he been able to expand his role and what he's capable of?
Yeah, I think we're trying to do more with him based on his skill set. And, the thing I'm probably the most appreciative about Dontrell is how interested in making a role and defining a role on special teams. I mean, he's lining up and says, I want to be the PP. I want to be the personal protector, and we know how important that role is. And that's probably been the thing that I've appreciated the most, is not only what we're trying to do and the role that he's trying to create on offense, is his willingness to say, I want to have a role on special teams.
With that specific role, Kevin's done it for so long and been very valuable for them. Would there be a value to get a guy like Kevin, who does so much for you defensively, out of that role and find somebody else? Or do you think about it much like
Yeah,
that?
Kevin hasn't been our PP for a couple years, so he didn't do it last year, but he has done it. You're exactly right. We did that. I listened to you, and I did it a year earlier than what you wanted. So that's the quarter. For that play, that guy's the quarterback. There's protection. There's coverage. There's a lot to that. So Kevin was good at it. We had Amani Hooker, and Dontrell's working there. Cody Hollister's working there. Elijah Molden. When we can, get him, string some days together for Elijah, he's been working there as well.
How's Hassan pick things up?
Good. They're very coachable. Coming out of that game, those backs were a bright spot on offense. Thought that they ran hard, and they both did some good things on special teams as well.
This time last week, you mentioned Hassan had impressed you with his pass protection and made it a little bit easier for him in the route game and stuff. Do you think those things were still true in the game with Tampa?
Yeah, Torrey got more of the protection looks, the blitz pickups. Hassan, may had a few opportunities, and I think he was, ready for him. I don't think there was anything glaring that he missed. He saw the route that he caught when Malik, extended the play. That's pretty unique from a running back.